I'm very excited to talk about Corvid Court Aviary. Um, Look who it is. Well. Adam Bell in the chat. All right. We've got the big question here on the screen, which is what is aviary? What is Corvid Court Aviary? That's what we're hoping to answer today. So let's do this thing. Okay, first of all, hello everyone. I'm back. My headset is broken, so I hope you can hear me because I think it's just my output stuff that's broken. I can only hear things through one ear, but I'm assuming you all can hear me. I'll assume. But if you could throw something into chat to let me know, thank you, Adam. Excellent. So I'm back. I was on a brief vacation this week, and I got engaged. I can now call my partner my fiance. That's very exciting. And in that time, I was brewing on games. That's the curse, right? That's the curse of game design, is that you just can't turn it off. You're just like, but what if I made this a game all the time? So, Corvid Court, Aviary. Real quick, what is Corvid Court in case you, I don't know, haven't seen it? Corvid Court is this. It's my game about... What is this? A 2-page... What is this document that I have here? I'll go find it. Corvid Court is an RPG that I made last year in May. I think it was May when it was released. It was a fever dream design. Basically, there was a transmat effect in Destiny that I loved where you burst into this cloud of crows and then suddenly you were there. And I was like, great. Let's take the premise of bursting into a cloud of crows and make a whole game around it. And because I like games about crime and stuff like that, I was like, let's make a game about birds and crime. And that's where Corvid Court became what it became. And like in 48 hours, I wrote out the original version of it, which this is Maria's version. She made it a million times better. Here's my original version with like a bunch of stock art. You can see it's not fancy. It does what it needs to do. And then Maria made the much better version that I think most folks are familiar with. And Maria's layout is what I think honestly made Corvid Court as popular as it became. And then I shouted about crows for like a month, and it was super fun, and then I stopped making it. And then I sold out of it, like, right away. I did a print run, and I sold out right away, and that was kind of bizarre. So I eventually reprinted it. I'm almost sold out of the reprints already, which is really cool. I'm glad folks are liking it. I think that, again, is a testament to Maria's skills as a graphic designer. Just, like, it's super compelling to look at. So Aviary is sort of the next step of Corvid Court. God, I wish I could remember. Somebody said in my Discord, I think it was this morning, like maybe it was yesterday, I love how hackable your games are, Spencer. And that was like the nicest thing in the world somebody could say to me. It felt very good. That's the thing that I want, is I want my games to be hackable. I want them to be things that people could easily make stuff for. Slayers, that was the whole premise, is that you could just make stuff right away. That's why I made the creator's kit. Light is rules light enough and modular to kind of push people to do that, to push them to make stuff. Corvid Court was always, I wanted it to be something like that, but I never did anything with it. I never supported it or pushed people to make things for it. And I think that's what I want to do with Aviary. So what is it? It's this is a collaborative book, I think. It's the, let me get some bullet points going here just so that helps me. It's a collaborative book that is going to be a whole bunch of things. It's going to be classes or courts, whole courts themselves. It's going to be resources and tools for playing, like conspiracy generators. So like if you want to like play the game, like what are some jobs you can do? like lore and setting stuff, optional rules. Basically, it's a major expansion. You buy this or you get this, and it's going to... You're going to like have a whole bunch of new stuff to do to play Corvid Court. Because right now, you can just play it. It's supposed to be light. That's a key thing to keep in mind here is, remember, it's called Resistance Light for a reason. I made what I'm calling Resistance Light, which is kind of a streamlined version of the Resistance system, which I love, right? Like, obviously, Corvid Court is inspired by games like Spire. In fact, there's a faction called the Corvid Court in Spire. It's a totally different thing. It's like a Fey faction. But, like, clearly, my mind thinks like Grant Howitt in some ways, or I'm attracted to the same things that Grant Howitt is attracted to. So, you know, there's that. Ooh, Adam, what is this? One day I'm going to have to pick your brain about how to approach encouraging people to hack your stuff. Yeah, I'd love to talk about that. I'd love to talk about, like, making games, like, having it be your mission from the beginning to make games hackable, or how to promote the hackable space. Because I think that's how I've met a lot of people. I've met a lot of people who, and people for some reason, and I'm really glad about it, are like super comfortable just being like, hey Spencer, I made this thing for your game. Hope that's cool. And I'm always like, yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. But I folks just come and do that. And I'm super into that. We should chat, Adam. We should definitely chat about that. Hello, Star Killer Fish. Is that somebody who I know who is using a different username? I should probably... Is that MV? It might be MV. I don't remember. I'm bad at remembering. It is MV. Excellent. Okay. I forget all the time. Okay, so what is Aviary? So it's going to be a collaborative book. Where is this coming from? The Lazy Buzzers do a string of tweets to outline a faction. Yes! Hell yes! Ooh. Oh, wait. Signal Station. I know you. It's Michael, right? Michael, you made Devil Aim for Me, right? God, I really hope I'm remembering my names correctly. Yes, excellent. Yes. Oh my God, I love Devil Aim for Me. It's my favorite Trophy Dark incursion ever. It's so good. So really super excited that you're here. That's awesome. Okay, so Aviary, and I think of Aviary and Slayer's Almanac as similar projects. They are books that are going to be written by other folks, and I'm just going to bind it all together. So, because there's some people who've made, like, some people have already made cool stuff for Corvid Court. Yeah, another MV. Like Keegan. Keegan has made something. Let's show you what Keegan has made. They made... It's probably going to just be... here it is. Strange Bird. This is awesome. So look what Keegan did. They made this unofficial module for my incredible Corvid Court game. And I mean, look at this. It's really good. And Keegan has done a fantastic job of capturing the essence of what Corvid Court looks like and everything like that. So what I want to do is I want to bring people to... Oh, hey, Keegan, you got to see you right away. I want to bring people in to write stuff for Corvid Court. My rationale for inviting people to do that for Slayers made sense because Slayers is this infinite city. It can be as many things as you want it to be, and that's cool. So obviously I need other people to help me write the almanac. In theory, Corvid Court is a condensed place, right? It is Nest. That's the name of the city, but I don't give you a whole lot to work with Nest, and some people like that and some people don't. But this is an opportunity to expand on Corvid Court in interesting ways. So the question becomes ultimately, like, what are people... I guess not what are people, what do people want to see? And then similarly, like, what do people want to make? Because I think I'd like for those two things to be the same thing, but they're not necessarily the same thing, right? So when you expect like an expansion to a game, what are you expecting, right? You're expecting more ways to play the game. So I think like right away that means obviously you want more classes. You want more birds. Birds are what is the name for classes. But here's the thing about Corvid Court when it comes to classes, and I think Adam wants to make pigeons. I love that idea. Pigeons. I gotta write it down here like factions, other birds, animals. I don't know. I gotta come back to that idea. You want new ways to play the game. And so, like, I shouldn't have closed the window, but Keegan made other ways to play the game by creating new birds to play. The thing about those birds, and the things about adding more birds in general, is that probably people aren't going to make corvids. The game's called Corvid Court. But do all the birds have to be corvids? Obviously not, right? Keegan made a vulture, for example. Which is really freaking cool. So then that becomes like, what does it mean to make stuff for Corvid Court? Because that part of the premise is that like there are multiple courts going on. There's the Corvid Court, which is one of the courts, but there are other courts, and I like the idea of other courts. So like these are other like legitimate gangs or factions that do bad stuff, right? The premise of Corvid Court is you're bad people doing horrible things. So the other courts should be not good people. I don't know, unless somebody really wants to make like a good bird faction. I don't know what's the goodest bird. I can't think of the goodest bird off the top of my head, but like what's a really, I don't know, a nice bird. But other courts are, they're themed around, what are they, like bird? It's not like, is it a family? Is it a family of birds? What is Corvid? Is Corvid a family? It's King Philip came over from Greater Scotland, so I think it is family. I think it's family. Dodo class, literally unplayable. I like that. Keegan, I expect you to make a fishing variant for this, as you do, but themed around like a bird family. So, for example, I think I've thrown this phrase around, like the Strigid Syndicate, or something like that. Strigid or Strigidae, or any variation of that is like the owls, right? So this is the owl faction. And what would like an owl faction be about? They could be about like a lot of things, right? We think about what owls are. Like it's called a parliament of owls, right? So you could think about the Strigid Syndicate are out there doing like political intrigue. Like if you wanted to play, what I'm saying here, and I should just write this down while it's still in my head. These are like the crews in Blades. So in Blades, let me just make like a whole other thing about this. In Blades, you are a crew that does a certain type of crime, right? Like we're hawkers, so we're selling stuff, or we're assassins, so we kill people. The other thing is that you then have like the playbooks, the classes inside that aren't crew dependent. That's how Blades works, right? So you aren't like cut off from being a Whisper if you don't choose to be a cult. You can be a Whisper in any of the gangs. But I'm thinking that's not how Corvid Court is going to work. Corvid Court is like, by choosing the court that you want to play as, you are saying, this is the type of bad stuff we want to do in our version of the game, and so the classes fit that. It's I don't know. I don't know if that's like the total direction to go, because I specifically wrote it so that the Corvid Court does everything. right? They're the court that you can go to, and they'll do all the bad things for you. They'll steal, they'll bribe, they'll do the racketeering, they'll do the killing, they'll do all of that stuff. So the classes kind of run the gamut in terms of what they can do, right? Like the J is kind of like the strange, horrifying version of a face, right? While the Crow is much more like the brute warrior sort of thing. So the question then becomes is like, do I encourage people? And this is the thing to keep remembering the whole time is I'm not writing these things. I might write something. Like, obviously, I should write something for this game. I want to write something for this game. And I haven't figured out what I want to write yet, what I want to contribute. But I need to give some guidance, right? I need to give some feedback or some, like, if you're going to make if you want to contribute a court to Aviary, then you need to consider X, Y, and Z. So the question then becomes, is X, Y, and Z things like, if you want to make the Strigged Syndicate, it's got to be about, what you call it, like it's owls, so it's like you are telling people, like, if you choose the Strigged Syndicate, your conspiracies and things like that got to be in the, like, space of law, or like, but also like owls are associated with like wisdom in a lot of places, right? So like they could be like info brokers, right? They just sell information, stuff like that. Secret traders and things like that. That could be interesting. So I need to write this down here. Can we start mixing up the birds and courts together for play? Do people want to do that? Like, what if you really want to play a J, but like your whole table wants to play as like the Strigged Syndicate? Are you fucked? Do you not get to play the J? I don't know, right? I don't know about that. Yeah, MV, finches, right? Finches for sure need to be in there. Finches, shit, there was another one that I had. You know, like, you could definitely do something like with hawks. Hawks would be fun. What is it called? Is it called a thresh? That bird? Is that a bird? Thrush? Thresh is a League of Legends character. Is that a thrush? Nope, that's not what I want either. Ugh. Thrush, right? Yes. Oh, good. Sir Heck is here. They're an expert in birds. Sparrows are working people. I read like a cool fact about like robins are good at mimicking, I think. So like they would be a great class to do something with that. Thrush are like the birds that are like, yeah, I gotta search thrush bird. Aren't they the ones that like stab you, right? Like they throw you onto, like they stab their prey or they throw them onto spikes to kill them and stuff? Like that'd be awesome. That'd be super cool. Oh, that's a shrike. I'm thinking of a shrike. Thank God Sir Heck is here. Yeah, like these, oh, it's gnarly, right? They're mean birds. Okay, I gotta pause my brain for a second and catch up on people. Owls are watchers in the night. Alarm network. Oh, God, Adam. Very good. Watchers of the night. Alarm network. That's an Adam Bell jam right there. Okay. Sparrows are the working people. Keegan said earlier, would love some lore-based stuff. Yes. I think that's another thing that we want. So let's see here. Obviously, we're talking about new courts, new birds, figuring out if that is mutually exclusive or sort of a combined thing. Lore stuff about Nest. Expand on this. You know, we'll talk about that in just a second. I agree, Keegan. Like, yeah, it does get away from like the whole figure it out thing, but I think the figure it out thing was also part of like me making a book that was supposed to be like 20 pages long and writing it in 2 days and being fine with that. But I think it's cool to like flesh that stuff out. So, you know, like maps, absolutely. Maps and government stuff is cool. That's good stuff. I like that. All right, what else is going on here? With Aviary, you go big. The court is shattered. Birds don't stick together. You can mix and match. Yeah. Let's write that idea down. So the court, or the court system in general, is shattered. And like that means birds can be with anybody. We'll come back to that idea here in just a second here. So I like that because, and this is what I had to get around with Seasons. There's a game of mine that not a lot of people know about. So Seasons was my game where I grappled forever to try and figure out how to make it work because I knew characters were it's my Fey crime game, and it was supposed to be you are associated with a court. I have a type, right? Of like the seasons, like so winter court, summer court, spring court, etc. And then you also had a house, which was like your job responsibility, which gave you your class. And then it was like, well, why are they all working together? Why are these players working together if they're not from the same house or the same court? How do I encourage it? And then I had to come up with like, well, there's also this renegade house called House Mask that you all work for. And that was kind of my workaround for it. So, something that might have to be something we think about for Corvid Court of doing like the shattering or whatever to make it work. Doves. I'd love to see what people do with doves. That'd be neat. That'd be real cool. Robin season here. The robins are everywhere. We talked about galliforms yet? I don't know what a galliform is, Sir Heck. You're going to have to maybe educate? Corvid Court Aviary, birds of a feather don't stick together. Yeah, let's just straight up copy and paste that down because that's just good, right? Oh, good. That's great formatting. Seasons was a blast. Oh, yeah. Keegan got to play Seasons. I'm so glad. Oh, my God. There's so many birds. This is great. Land birds. Oh, is that what a galliform is? So chickens, turkeys, quail, etc. That's a galliform, like a land bird. Sick. I'm going to write that down. Galliforms. Land birds. Thank you, Sir Heck, for that. This is good. This is good so far. I know it doesn't seem like we have like structure to any of this, and that's fine. Right now is purely just getting stuff on the page. I want this game to exist so badly. And I guess it's not a game. It's this expansion to exist so badly. Penguins. Yeah, penguins. Yeah, that's the other thing. Galliform Gang, right? It's got to have that alliteration. So it's got to be like Strigid Syndicate, Corvid Court. I don't know what the Finch family is called, but whatever that is. Finch family is a great name. I'm very excited about this. I want this to exist. And this is going to have to be one of those things that gets kickstarted, right? It's gonna have to get kickstarted. So we'll figure out all of that stuff later. Like that's a whole other thing to eventually go into is logistics in terms of like picking people to contribute. Layout, which I do want to talk about today. I've talked a little bit about it in my Discord, and I do want to come back to it, so I'm going to highlight that for myself. Yeah, that's a great point, Sir Hack. If there's a big enough threat, the birds could work together, right? That's interesting. Yeah, courts against each other or courts against a common threat. That's the thing. So they're fighting deforestation. Well, we can never truly acknowledge the existence of them being real birds or not. And yeah, MV, that's real. Okay, so we've gotten slightly slightly off in terms of my rhythm, but we'll get it back on. So they're shattered, or there's a greater threat sort of thing. Also ultimately figure it out. Why we don't have to codify this too. We don't have to make this. It doesn't matter, right? It could just simply not matter. With Seasons, it mattered because it was like this political dance that you had to do between the courts and the houses and everything like that. But like in Corvid Court, ultimately, like if you want to just be a hawk, a penguin, and a crow, like fine, do it. Go do crime with those three people, and you all can figure out at the table while you're playing together. And maybe that's something that people want. Maybe that's something that people want to see is. It could be that greater threat or reason to work together. I don't know. Other stuff that we want to see. I'm such a sucker for factions. I'm a huge sucker for factions. So, like, do we want to do some sort of factional play where you work for different factions in the city of Nest and you track that sort of stuff? Are we entering Blades in the Dark territory? Of course we are. I'm always entering Blades in the Dark territory. Game design. That's how it works, right? So, yeah, I mean, faction play is just so good. I can't wait to add faction stuff to Light. Oh, that's gonna be fun. That's season 2, though. Factions be called flocks. Oh my god. I love that. Kolbosh. Do I know Kolbosh by another name, perhaps? The name doesn't ring out to me on its own. But I do want to make sure I give credit where credit is due for that very good name. Roland B. Oh, Roland B. Okay, cool. Excellent. Thank you, Roland. Sweet. Phlox is great. So, like, faction play, that's interesting. The question then is, like, does that introduce... So that could that ties into the lore stuff. So, which goes back to this idea that I had up here about... Obviously, we've got, like, factions, other birds, other animals. The only reason I've written other animals here is because Chris Bizette promised me a long time ago that they were going to make Ursine, the Ursine Underground. And I understand Chris is a very busy person. I never actually, I'm just joking. I have no ill will towards Chris at all. Wonderful person. But Chris mentioned this a long time ago about making the Ursine Underground, which is an amazing thing in the first place. And I know Chris loves bears, right? Like, that's a thing we know about Chris, is they love bears. Please, Keegan, bully Chris for me. Hello, Plumtree. Welcome. But here's the thing about doing that. That means other animals are on the table, right? So is it just the birds that are the courts that are doing the crime? And then the other animals are responsible for the other things of the city, right? Too many animals, if we add too many. And this is, like, I don't want it to get silly, right? I don't want it to get silly. And, like, I'm not going for, like, super edgy, but I was making, like, a weird game about crows and crime. So, like, I don't want it to be filled with every animal under the sun. I like it being stuck to the idea of birds, right? Birds, I love birds. But with it, yeah, oh my God, Adam, that's so true, right? Watch me struggle to uphold the ambiguity of whether they're actually animals or just dorks that like to call themselves crows. It's so hard. It's so hard. You know, ultimately, if you want to play a game about crows doing crime and it's actual crows, go buy... Oh, God, it opened up in a new tab. Don't do that. Or a new window. Go buy Corvid Court. This Corvid Court by Adam Vass. Here you go. Adam did a cover of Corvid Court in which you're actually birds in a suburban cul-de-sac doing crime, and it's really good. It's super good. But I need to stay ambiguous. I can't reveal whether or not you are actually birds or not. Cowbirds? Oh, I think I remember you seeing something about this. Yeah, I remember seeing this. Wait, this is from forever ago. Anyway, I'm not going to go look at... accidentally somehow reveal something about my Twitter right now. But yes, okay, I'll save that for later. I'll come back to that. So that's the thing to keep in mind with like factions is I do like this idea of calling them flocks. Keeping it to birds. Listen, if Chris eventually wants to write Ursine Underground and release it as its own supplementary thing, like Keegan did with their birds, cool. But I think like we're gonna keep the Aviary because it's called the Aviary to birds. I feel confident in making that executive decision right now. But you know me, I flip flop. So who knows? Maybe in 2 days I'll be like, fuck it. Let's get otters in there. Let's get snakes in there. I hate snakes, but let's get them in there. They're the sworn foes of the Corvid Court. Or yeah, Plumtree. They call themselves bears, but they're still just birds. That would be funny too. Birds fight each other enough that you can still do an outside forces join together if you wanted. The raptors. Yeah, like, oh yeah, hell yeah. Raptors are just like, there you go. You get those mean birds of prey in there, those could be the antagonists. They're like coming into the nest and fucking shit up, and you're like, all right, the courts have a system. We all respect one another's system and our place in nest, and these raptors are showing up and they are messing it up. So let's band together and mess up the raptors. Wait a minute. Why am I not writing all of this down? All right, let's get raptors on the page. Let's, of course, make sure that Adam gets the credit for that. Raptors. Big bully birds that show up and shake up nest. Courts have a system. Raptors fuck it up. So you band together to take down the raptors. Boom. You have a sense of, you have a common foe, and the common foe can stay as birds. Good. Another animal could be a sequel RPG. Yeah, Nyx, absolutely, right? That could be a thing too. Raptors, but they're actually velociraptors. Ty, that's very good. Otters are already stone cold criminals. Nothing cute can be that cute can be trusted. This is good. The bat showed up and demanded that they're also birds. You all came excited to talk about Corvid Court. I love this. Clearly, I should have been spending much more time focused on making Corvid Court stuff, based off of this. So, okay, bats aren't bugs. Okay, so we might have an answer to this. The idea of like shattering it or a greater threat. The greater threat might be the raptors. Because I do need to like generally have a sense of this stuff, because I need like guidelines and some sort of structure that people can use to make things. I want them to be creative. I want them to add whatever stuff they want. But like, again, we can't just open up the gates, and then suddenly somebody's like, well, I made a whole faction about squirrels, and now there's the squirrel faction in the game, and you can deal with it, Spencer. Again, that stuff can happen, and ultimately that means like there's going to be a Corvid Court jam. Gotta have a jam with all these things, because I'd love to have everybody in Aviary, but I can't have everybody in Aviary because I don't have infinite money, and Kickstarter's not going to produce infinite money for me, so we got to put a jam along with it. And then people can just go wild with it. You can make whatever you want. But this, what we need to be thinking about is what is going to be in Corvid Court Aviary. Too bad we don't have infinite money. Yeah, wouldn't that be sweet? Problem solved. What a shame. It solves so many problems. What a bummer. Barely have finite money. We could just abolish money. That's a conspiracy idea, right? Did I write down conspiracy somewhere? Yeah. Abolish money, which in Nest is called seed, right? Get rid of seed in Nest. That'd be neat. Or that'd be a fun premise for people to do. So what are other things that people want to see or want to make? Playing around with resistance light. People, not everything, and this is important to note, not everything in Aviary has to be used, right? It's like, it's in the other room and I can't go get it right now, but it is like Stellar Remnants. So Adam Vast made Necronautilus, which is just like so good as a game. And then Adam invited a bunch of people to make things for Necronautilus that you can use as much of or as little as you want, which are, so there's like adventures in there. There's interesting tables in there. You can make whatever you want. NPC generation tools. Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. NPC creators. Again, conspiracy. I'm just going to write it again. Conspiracies, which is the name of a job. Conspiracies. A district generator, right? If you wanted to just be like, all right, here's where you are in Nest for generator. If you wanted to be in Nest, and this is where you are in Nest right now, absolutely, right? You can do that. Adam, if I end up actually contributing to this, I will put commie revolutionary birds in your game. Be they the doves or the sparrows, tear down the corvids. I mean, Adam, that sounds amazing. I think it needs to be an aviary. Because there we go, right? You are now allowing people to tell interesting stories that go alongside what Corvid Court is normally about. Story seeds, heist generator, absolutely, right? Conspiracy generator. Do I have it here somewhere? I made a thing for Sledgehammer. For the Sledgehammer jam. I've lost it. I made something that was crow-based. And I called them seeds. I love bird puns. Well, I can't find it, so I'm going to give up on it. Yeah, what if each flock has a theme? So, Corvids are criminals. Yeah, like that could be a thing. It doesn't have to be a crime game anymore, right? By introducing new courts, you introduce new ways to play and approach the game. It doesn't have to be crime. Or at least like the mean crime. You could have those revolutionary birds that Adam Bell so badly wants to make, those commie birds, right? And you could have the owls don't have to be criminals. I don't know what they are. I'm not going to figure that out right here. That's for somebody else to figure out. But that's a good point, MV, to kind of continue to remind myself that this is an opportunity to invite people to contribute their own perspectives, their own kind of thoughts and priorities for the game. What do they want to see in the game? That's why I'm doing the Slayer's Almanac, so that people can make districts that I would never be able to think of. This is even cooler, honestly. This is way cooler than the Slayer's Almanac. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm way more excited about Corvid Court Aviary, because this is going to be like people can... Oh, I remember what I was talking about earlier. I was talking about Stellar Remnants, right? And how Adam put together this awesome team of people who just made whatever they wanted to make to supplement Necronautilus, and people can use whatever they want in it. That sounds awesome to me as an idea for Corvid Court. So that's what I want it to be. I want it to be a bunch of things that people can make. Vulture, grave robbery for valuables. Yes. And then, Michael, you should go check out... I'm going to put it back up on the page just because it was so good. We'll go find it. Oh, yeah, somebody made a business card game entry called Magpies. You know I was all about that. You know I was super into that. Strange Bird. Vulture. Why is it saying buy now? I already bought it. Oh, download up here. Let's just look at it. Keegan, I'm going to put your thing on the screen here in a second. Look at... I mean, just first of all, look at this layout that Keegan did. Oh my god, it's so good. Also, I love that Keegan shouted out their dog. Big fan of that. Yeah, here we go. This is something that we need to talk about today because, you know, we're at like 40-ish minutes, and I don't want to go super long with these, but I do want to talk about the layout today with you all while you're still here, because I think that's extremely valuable. But God, look at what a cool job that Keegan did with this. So yeah, vultures and peacocks. Great. Cool new sheet, everything like that. Dog fighting rules for birds so bad. Oh, like flying around dog fighting, like planes flying around. Isn't Keegan so good at layout? Let's all take a moment to appreciate Keegan. This is so good. Keegan put together a very neat style guide and put it in the Gila RPG's Discord, which I hope they share at some point because it's super cool. It's awesome. Okay. I feel like Aviary is starting to manifest in my head as a clear idea. Yeah, I mean, Maria's... Let's talk about that. All right, so I'm going to unhighlight this because we're going to talk about the layout now. I think this is why people like Corvid Court. I think people like Corvid Court because of the layout. I think the game is neat. I like my game a lot. But I think it magically transformed from this, which is me just grabbing like stock art that I had access to is this it? No, this is something else. To Maria's version, which is going to take forever to load. Which, here we go. Like, obviously, you can see where Keegan got the inspiration. And this, people saw this. Like, let me go to my favorite spread in this whole book. The Jays spread. What a spread. If this is for Jays, which are the literally, like, insane talkers. Like, they babble inane things, and it convinces people to do things or makes them lose their minds. And I truly think that Maria's layout here is incredibly compelling, and it makes me excited for Keegan. Like, this is so good, and I think this is why people like Corvid Court. So then that leads me to the question of the layout, right? This is a collaborative thing. This is a collaborative writing process, but what about the layout? Eventually, I need to get the book laid out. Oh no, we're canceling Keegan again. um, and I'm not going to ask people to both write something and lay something out so that the book is just filled with a bunch of different layouts. That'd be really neat, of course, but like also that's way more work. And if somebody pitched that to me, I would never sign up because I don't do layout. Like I'm not good at it. So we're going to have one person do the layout, bring it all together. So the question then becomes, do we bring back Maria? Do we bring back Maria? To me, it seems like obviously yes. It seems like yes to me. We know that other people can pull this off. Keegan has done an amazing job pulling off this style, right? Maria did a fantastic job with Corvid Court, and now, like, all of us, we can look at this and go, wow, let me try and recreate this process. Keegan has nailed it. But I think, like, part of me would feel horrible if we did this book and then I got somebody else to be like, hey, can you copy this person's style and not ask Maria just to do it, right? Like, that would be horrible. That'd be a horrible thing to do. I would truly only do that. Only find someone else if Maria can't or doesn't want to, right? If there's no interest or schedules don't line up or anything like that, then we can look for other options. But I think like it should, and then hire Jam. I'm hiring Jam. All right, I'm not gonna lose. I'm so mad that I'm not paying Jam right now to be making Frame. Don't worry, Jam is being hired for light stuff, or at least I've pitched it to her. I'm hoping that she is into the idea of doing stuff for light the next season, because holy shit, Jam is so good. Envy, that's a good point. Like, Dissonant Whispers is really cool as a book because it's just every spread is a different style of layout and everything. That's really, really cool. I don't know. So let's brainstorm about that idea. Let's brainstorm about this idea about layout, which is, what is the style of Aviary? And let's just brainstorm this for a little bit, and then I think we'll start to wrap it up, just because it's going on about an hour. Well, 45 minutes, and that's enough for me for now. I'm doing 2 streams tomorrow, or 2 recordings tomorrow, so we'll talk about that in a second. But the style of Aviary. Couple of options. Let's just talk about options. Option 1. Maria does the whole thing in Corvid Court style. So let's replicate the style that was so popular. It was very cool in Corvid Court. Let's bring it back. Let's have the person who made that style popular be the person to do the layout. Awesome. 1A is someone else does it if Maria can't. Okay? That's like a sub option. Option 2. Totally new style for the whole thing. Could hire Jam and do like a whole new twist, right? Like, don't you think Jam would do a really cool job with this? Jam is so good. Jam is so good. I mean, let's go into the Forbidden Frame thing here. Is it in here? Look how good Jam is at layout. So close to making a whole book with this, which would have been amazing. And so, like, that's another thing that, like, there are other people who do awesome layout, and I think this is something that would be a cool route to go, which is find somebody else who's going to do Corvid Court in a totally new way. That would be really cool. Like Jam, obviously. Jam is so busy. Jam is going to be... She's already... With all the stuff that she's doing with Nevin and me bothering her, Keegan, I agree for people to catch up and hire Jam, but the second that happens, she's off the market. Like, she'll have such a backlog. You'll never hire her for like 3 years because she's going to be so popular. So get in while you can. So, yeah, I truly think Jam is going to like dominate RPG layout once people realize how good she is, and that starts to like get out there. Okay. What was my third option? Oh yeah, the option 3 is it's a mix, right? It's a mix up. So go look at Dissident Whispers as example of this, and Stellar Remnants did this too, right? So Adam did a different type of layout for each entry into Stellar Remnants. So let's just say, hypothetically, there are 6 entries into Corvid Court Aviary. So I grab 6 people who have really cool ideas for Corvid Court, and I say, you're the 6. Let's lock down what you're going to be writing about, and let's lock down graphic designer for those spreads, and then each one is going to be its own different thing. Option 4, no layout. It's a Google Doc that I share with you, and that's all you get. Right? We could go that route. Okay. 6 designers, 6 artists approach. Yeah, I'm just going to write that down. 6 designers, 6 artists. Just because option 5, no game. Nah, let's just not do it. It seems like too much work. So this is something that I don't think we have the answer to, right? I think all 3 of these are good options for layout. And it's something that I need to talk to people about. I need to this is good. I'm glad people are saying stuff here. I'm extracting what I can from chat. It's been very good so far. But I don't know what the answer is to this. I don't know if there is an obvious answer of which one is best. I don't think they are listed in order of best to worst. I think there's merits to each of them. I think this needs to be the ongoing conversation, and it's maybe the conversation I have with the writers, but I feel like I should have that laid out ahead of time, right? I feel like that's part of the stuff that needs to be done ahead of time, which is, God, this is really poorly formatted today as opposed to some of my other stuff. I had something that I thought was telling people what they needed to do, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm too scattered today. It's been a long week. So I don't know. Let's just what do folks think? Just like gut impressions right now of the 3 options. What jumps out? What seems merits and I don't know, flaws in the other ones? What do we think? Is anybody? I think maybe some folks had said some things. I got engaged. Isn't that so neat? It's so neat. Gut impression, 6 writers, 6 artists. Maria is my favorite call. Like mix up. It's tricky, right? It's tricky. Okay, so what have we learned? we've learned that this is this is the biggest thing to grapple with. Let's wrap it up with a summary. What is Corvid Court Aviary? It is a collectible book, a sort of collectible expansion on Corvid Court, in which arbitrarily, I'm just saying 6 for now, 6 people are going to contribute something to Corvid Court. And it doesn't have to be what you call it. It doesn't have to be all new playbooks, classes, courts, and things like that. It can be cool things like tables, and like you could write an adventure plot out, or you could write something that changes the resistance light system. Like maybe you want to make a list, for example, like maybe you want to make a list of fallouts. Spire and Heart have fallouts, but maybe you would love to come up with a fun list of Corvid bird themed fallouts. That would be cool to have. Wouldn't that be a neat resource? So I don't know ultimately how many people are going to be in it, because some of these might only take a page or 2 pages. Some of these might take 7 pages or 8 pages. So it truly does just depend on this. But it's going to be this thing where people get to write stuff that they think will expand and make Corvid Court cooler than it is. So, and then we've got all these cool birds. I love this idea of like a greater threat that might help a lot. Yeah, see, boom, nailed it. There it is. Michael comes through with a bird-themed fallout, molting. Difficulty with any charisma-based actions while you suffer from stress-based, like a drop in appearance. Boom, there you go. There's a fun bird-themed fallout. And somebody could just, I'm sure somebody cleverer than me could come up with a whole list of these things. So, and then this ends with figuring this out. I don't know. I'm struggling to think about it, of what I like. I don't know. Maybe my gut is 1 in 3 over 2, but maybe. But then I have to find 6 artists. That's hard, right? Corralling 6 writers and 6 artists is that's work. So figuring that out is going to be a whole thing. Like Adam did the layout for Stellar Remnants. They just did it with different styles. Just did it themselves. So that's tricky. Oh yeah, I could ask the writer the designer to find the person that they want to work with. That could be a thing. Right. Creative finds their artist. Yeah, right? Like if you really like working with Madeline Ember, for example. Boom. Go grab her. Have her be your artist. That'd be awesome. And yeah, true. Keegan, that's a great point. That it doesn't have to be 6 designers, 6 artists. Designers can make their own layouts. Many of them can. Many of you are much more talented than I can do both. And then obviously you would just get both cuts. You'd get the designer cut and the artist cut. Because that's what it's about. I got to put this together and get people paid. So I don't know. Let's put together like a quick to-do list and let's wrap it up. Do I do a pitch thing, like the almanac? Maybe, or just reach out to some folks. I would hate to miss out on people who would make a really cool thing for Corvid Court, and I just like their name doesn't come to the top of my head as somebody who makes something for it. But also, like, I have like 50 pitches for the almanac to get through when the time comes. Perfect. Keegan and Envy have paired up. We've already got a pair. I need to come up with a structured premise and set of guidelines. What you can make, or at least suggestions for what you can make. You know, think about that idea of like the greater threat to help people, like to give people the freedom to just make like a, cause maybe you don't want to make a whole court. Maybe you just want to make 2 birds. Like Keegan made 2 birds. Maybe you just want to do that. You don't need to make a whole court. Yeah, sifting through pitches seems like work, but with some really, yeah, I mean, I've looked through some of the Slayers pitches. Holy shit. People are like really good, clever, awesome. And it's like I would never have thought of these things, which is cool. So I need to come up with a pitch thing, maybe a structure premise, and really need to think about / decide the layout approach. I think options. Really nailing my spelling today. Options 1 and 3 are front runners for me personally, just off the top of my head, but we'll see. Okay. We've just crossed the minute for at least the recording part of this, so I think this is good. I think we've done it. I think we've done a really good job of kind of laying out what Corvid Court Aviary is going to be about. Next steps for me in terms of what I need to do. So we need to sleep on this. Envy, you need to sleep on this because it's like 1 o'clock in the morning for you. Yes, but we do need to sleep on this, right? We need to brainstorm this. We need to brew on this. So I think this was good. I think this was extremely productive. Thank you all so much for like coming and hanging out. This was awesome. Like I loved it. Loved having you all here and to talk with me about this. This was great. Tomorrow I am doing 2 things. One, I'm recording a talk with Jeremy Gage. He and I are going to talk about live RPGs, which needs a new name. MV has mentioned that it does definitely need a new name, so I got to figure that out. And so that's not being streamed. We'll record that and I'll post it. I'll let folks know where that is. And then I'll do another design stream tomorrow, like early afternoon, I think, just because I know more people are awake across the world that way. This was awesome. So much fun. Everyone, let's wrap it up. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday or whatever. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow. If I don't, have a great weekend, and you all are wonderful. We'll talk soon. Bye.